see what his map's all about here as we say welcome to Sudden Awakening. To the top right-hand side, our blue Zerg player, this, my friends, is Reynor, and his opponent to the top left-hand side, the red Zerg player from Psystorm, True. Now this map from the get-go just screams, hey, Zerg players, we're going to get a Sudden Awakening if you try and send your overlords straight across to each other, as we do have these rocks in the center kind of giving a shorter attack path later. Otherwise you got these attack pathways down here, which I'm sure we're going to be seeing a bunch of as the game goes onwards. So excited to see how all of that turns out. Just double checking again after this is True versus Goblin. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm just going to very quickly pass maps on to Harston. And to Puck. Alright, awesome. So just passing the message on to a couple of players of what's going on, just trying to give players a little bit of time to look at their maps. Harston and Pug not playing for another series or two. And you guys can give the players a chance to, like, just again, obviously 16 maps is a lot to learn at once, so in a very short period of time. See if we can even give the players a few extra minutes where they can kind of figure out which map they're going to be playing on. You know, an extra series or two to look over them. It will obviously help them out a whole bunch. So apologies for just being silent for a moment or two here, but it is a hatch gas pool apiece on each side of the map as we get ourselves set up here on Sudden Awakening. Again, excited to... I just can't believe... So, to put things into perspective, the last 2 times I've run the map test tournament, it's my 3rd time running this event. And the last 2 times I've run this, every single time, the players have been... I've just struggled so much. I've tried to make really good systems, and honestly, I've got a pretty good system down, I personally believe. I've got some good systems where I make sure all the maps get played pretty much a fair amount. But it's very difficult to get some of the more weirder maps and the maps which come under like the rush categories or the cheese categories and that sort of stuff. It's harder to get those maps played because obviously you put those maps in a map pool with more standard maps and the players are just going to say, well, I'd rather play on the more standard maps, right? This tournament from the get-go, the neutral turret maps are just dominant apparently. And very excited to see what comes of this as we move on. Now, the other map we'll be playing after this is actually going to be our first standard map of the tournament. That's going to be Kairos Junction, and that's going to be game number 2 of True versus Reynor. So looking forward to that, and excited to see what comes of that as well. So, again, some very interesting possibilities here as we do... Again, on the first couple of days, we really get to see the maps for the first time. As you see, the circle will go down. Reynor just try and pick up some information. But yeah, over the first day, as we try and see the maps for the first time, we really get accustomed to them, know what they're about, figure out what they're all going to be showing us, which is generally a lot of fun. Now, you do see this carapace upgrade on the top side. That's just over halfway done here. 3rd hatchery coming in from both players, expanding towards the corners here. Now, True's build's a bit different from Reynor's. He didn't get link speed right away because he goes for the carapace upgrade. So he's also late on the Baneling Nest, but in general, it will mean his skirmishers are going to be a little bit more powerful because he has a carapace upgrade to his name, of course. So that's going to be very important to keep in mind. Here's a couple lings going to run after each other at the moment. Queen in the main base picking up a couple more lings as Reynor's still scouting. And again, Reynor's scouting lings. They have seen that Evo, so he knows there's a carapace upgrade early on here. So all eyes on Reynor as to how he's going to respond to that now, as we will see a missile upgrade already starting for him. And he will have to get defensive, and I think just a lot of Banes in general. Obviously, Banes will no longer one-shot these lings if they have carapace, but if you can bring them low, your own lings should then be able to clean up. As right now, Reynor's in a little bit of trouble. His army supply is almost half of True's, and he has an upgrade disadvantage. Well, first Bane's starting to be targeted. Obviously, True's goal here is to try and make these Banes trade as inefficiently as possible, but Reynor finds good connections, and he is able to clean up the first few Zerglings of True. Very nicely done. Sorry, I actually forgot to turn on the 2 maps enable. So again, it's only 2 maps played between each player in this game series. It's not if it goes to 1-1, it's 1 point each. There's no wins, there's no losses. Oh, there is wins and losses, but it's mostly based on map score alone. So every map is 1 point in your favor. As you do see Lings from True sneaking into the main. We're going to try and get some damage done. We see Banes coming through as well as Zerglings of Reynor continue to chase. And those Zerglings of True pushed away into the corner. More units of Reynor continue to gather up here as Creep Tumors coming down. And we have more and more Zerglings streaming across to the right-hand side of the map. True is really getting himself set up and ready to push in towards the right-hand side as he's really been aggressive. I mean, 35 drones, he's not really been droning up at all, but Reynor has consistently been defending. He hasn't really had any issues yet, and while some Queens look as though they're going to be able to deal with those first few Zerglings as they run on in, Reynor on a 17-worker lead can afford to lose a bit of mining time here and there as long as he survives into the longer stage of this, whereas Roaches are obviously going to be very powerful. Now, True is going to play a very brave game. Aspire on the way down, and he's going to try and play Aspire on this neutral missile turret map. Well, let's hope he doesn't fly them into some missile turrets, because we've seen that with some Phoenix already today. Bane's very low now, but still being kept alive, and it looks as though with a transfuse, he'll keep one even healthier at the moment. Nicely done. As we are going to be seeing these fuse Zerglings just sitting down at the bottom, and True still trying to dive on in again, buying time as he gets ready to set up into the Mutalisk switch. But man, Reynor, with the economy which he has, is just going to get so far ahead in this game, isn't he? Over time, he is really propelling himself forwards. More Zerglings are True in the center of the map currently. And a couple Spine Crawlers on the way from Reynor now. Another Roach on the way, 3 more Queens. What's up, Ghoulie HS with the Twitch Prime sub for 8 months in a row. Thank you for resubscribing. Do appreciate the support. Thank you very much. How do the missile turrets work? Well, just like this. They shoot down anything in the sky, friend or foe. Well, everything is a foe to these guys. They're neutral. They don't care. They just want the skies to stay clear. You can kill them as the player in the game. You can come over here and kill them if you have high ground vision, obviously, and something which can reach them. See, that's not very easily done. True, fallen victim here, as we are going to be seeing the... well, Lings continue to gather together. A couple of Queens pushing forwards also for True, just pushing an overload of Reynor back in towards the center of the map. Bottom left side as well, there's this one gold base which is actually surrounded by missile turrets, which I'm intrigued about. I'm interested to see how it turns out eventually. And as you do see a few Zerglings of True just gathering together on the south. A couple of Banes are going to start waddling their way in towards the right-hand side here as well. Spinecrawler of Reynor will start to just burrow down into the ground. And again, Queens, Roaches, Banes, well, all of these just gathered up together and, again, sitting defensively as he just... Reynor is actually interesting. Like, I guess he kind of knows he's playing against Mutalisk, right? Otherwise, I get the wall-off kind of seems weird, but it makes sense if a bunch of Ling Bane floods in with the Mutas. He is coming along here. Reynor's lair just finished, so if he wants to go into Hydras, he's a little bit away from that as an option at this stage of the game. He has added on a couple more Queens. Worker counts have evened out over time. The income lead will have been huge for Reynor for a good couple of minutes. But now again, evening out as he loses a couple of overlords, he has to replace them, and the power of the Mutalisk will start to shine. It wasn't that many Mutas from True either. Yes, 200 invested to build a Spire, but then 6 Mutas from there. It's not a huge investment at all, so he's already going towards the Hydras. He's already making his way towards a Lurker Den. Does Reynor have an answer to the Lurkers? Well, not just yet, but if he gets a hive with this infestation pit, he may very well have a way to make this work out. Now into the main, we do see these Mutas working their way through an Overlord as well. Actually getting it kind of low, but a Transfuse comes in to keep it alive. Missile turrets actually going to keep these Mutas stuck in a bit of a difficult position. They do find their way out, just kind of flying parallel to that line of missile turrets, keeping themselves alive for the moment. Again, more Roaches, Lings, and Banes pushing forwards here. Spinecrawl will push further forwards as well. A Hatchery drops down to the 4th base. So gets that set up as we do see one Baneling taken down. Again, more Queens coming out to push those Mutas away. That Hatchery taking a little bit more damage, but looks as though it'll survive again. As these units are just going to sit out the front here. Again, the Mutas moving around the map to see where they can end up. A few Infestors being added on also. And we have the Lurker Den coming up on the left-hand side still. So this Lurker Den, as that finishes, obviously brings in a lot of possibilities. You know, the Lurker's Morphin gives True a lot of ways in which he can push into Reynor very aggressively and very easily. And again, right now, Reynor doesn't have an answer to that. No Hive Tech, no Vipers. You know, I mean, what else can you really look for here? Fungals aren't really going to make the difference. And I can't imagine that Reynor is just like, oh yeah, this is mass meter play, because he's only seen 6 meters. He's had no reason to sort of feel as though he's been under a ton of pressure in the skies. He's going to knock down these rocks, which will block off this pathway for a moment or two. And we do have these rocks as well. Just going to be sat in this position. Lurkers coming down across to the other side of the map. These queens are going to be working their way through that overlord, so again, a little bit more damage being done. Units still up in the sky, more banelings on the way out, zerglings as well. And these units are continuing to move across the map. True, getting ready to come in and to come and fight against Reynor here in the very near future. More roaches and hydras thinking about taking on these rocks, but pulls back very quickly. Banes are rolling into this mineral line. Reynor loses 11 drones just like that. 18 workers going down. Wow. It's a lot of workers very quickly gone. Couple hydras will work the way through these couple of overlords here. So able to take these. Oh, it doesn't actually get it down. Unfortunate, man. That 18 workers killed. Pretty intense here, as we will see these lurkers burrowing, roaches and hydras pushing in to kill a couple of lurkers. Transfusions being used. And actually, with these rocks down, True can't push much further just yet. I mean, he can obviously loop around and go from another angle. Reynor waiting for his own lurker den to finish up here, apparently. Hive currently coming into play now too, so getting that set up in the main base. As we do see 6 lurkers from True setting up, continuing to morph in. Well, we are just going to be having a few more roaches still gathering up as well. Here we go, another fight. A single infested Terran going up on the high ground, looking as though it's trying to absorb some damage. Doesn't really quite get the job done, and Reynor loses even more. And now, an attack onto his third base once again. This hatchery's going to go down, and that is already Reynor bleeding here. Although he's going to pick up a lot of link kills, he's going to block them in! Reynor using this choke point brilliantly to get rid of these zerglings here, and they will all go down. Zerglings cleaned up. Well, that doesn't... I don't know if it makes up for the third hatchery being lost. It's not great to lose a hatchery, right? But that was a ton of zerglings. Okay, mineral-only units or not, they're still very valuable to you when there's that many. I mean, how many lings died this game? 146. Resources lost is now dead even. It has been True's advantage in income, though. Reynor with his own lurkers coming up, as True will just contain Reynor with these lurkers continue to drop in over here. So a lot of lurkers setting up just on the ramps. This overlord as well just set up down on this south side. Now we do have Adrenal Glands, +3 melee, Adaptive Talons. All of these upgrades starting to come in here from True. A few lurkers are going to start stalking forwards. Obviously wanting to try and get even more aggressively positioned and just try and break Reynor beyond the 4 bases. True in background has taken advantage of all of this. He's taken his own 5th base again. That's set up and ready to go. There's Lings and Banes of True setting up to the south side of the map. They're going to get ready to roll forwards here in the next few moments. So getting ready to attack forwards, getting ready to attack in. A couple more lurkers going to come in here too, and we do see already this Overseer given high ground vision. And Reynor could have killed that, but the distraction over here is actually being very annoying, and these Banes just crashing forwards. Fungal growth is good to help out, but well, actually the Bane's still managing to connect off of that fungal. And again, the lurker setup which True's got for himself here. Reynor's just backed away into a corner. Coming forwards now, gets a couple of these lurkers, another couple of lurkers burrowing. And again, just going to be able to get rid of this lurker as well. And well, Reynor's breaking out into more of the centralized position on the map here, but he's still not quite there thoroughly just yet. Not just yet. Again, more lurkers just burrowed here from Reynor, and we do have this army just trying to find a way to keep on moving around, to keep on finding ways in, to keep on finding a way out of this Zerg army of True. But he's just got so many lurkers all over the place, these ramps being held so effectively, and finally Reynor's getting Vipers, and Vipers are obviously again going to be the main way you can really do something about this here. There's another 20 drones fall. The income of Reynor is really tilting off the face of this earth. You can see it here, the income has just been a mountain of its own. There it is, that huge spike from True as he takes down another 20 drones. Banes to the right-hand side as well, killing Queens as they roll on through. The power of +2 melee, those Banelings are currently deadly. Rolling on through, working their wonders. And well, an Overseer of Reynor is going to get picked off by the few muters, which are still alive as well. Another 16 drones. Reynor's just rebuilt these, now he has to rebuild them again. This hatchery is getting lower and lower and lower. It's taking so many hits, and well, 50 minutes into Sudden Awakening. It's actually not been much of a Sudden Awakening. It's been a long, dreary nightmare for Reynor. He's been contained and pushed back and just taking damage for what, the last 15 minutes now? Well, not 15 minutes, but I'd say at least the last 5 minutes, definitely. There you go again, big lane run by, I mean, Fungal Grove's really good here, though. True's losing a lot of units when he commits in like this. And I mean, okay, he's going to force the base, you know, the units away from the base, the workers away. He's going to lose all of these, but he gets a hatchery, gets 11 drones. And True has the money, the economy to rebuild from this. Again, going to push back through the center potentially now. Reynor, that's the issue. He's just not done anything here because what do you do when there's so many lurkers everywhere? Well, if he could push through here and get rid of these 2 lurkers via the Vipers, I don't think that's possible actually because of these missile turrets. But I mean, there's other locations where you could use the Vipers to kind of break through. And then, once you're on the map, again, this army of True is obviously not as powerful as he would usually like his army to be because it is very reliant on the lurkers, stopping Reynor from really ever taking a proper fight. Knights are going to try and come in and chase some Vipers backwards. Vipers going to have to get some more energy, though, draining what's already a low hit point hatchery even further to get some of this energy back, cannibalizing its own buildings. Zerg player as we move through. Again, US just gathering up. More drones going to come in over from the right-hand side. Hydras, Banes from True all gathered up as well, and we are going to be seeing those units just gathering together. A few more roaches on the top side from Reynor, trying to defend, but every time with +2 melee, +3 melee, those drones are just getting destroyed. Those Banes are just so powerful, as we do see Lurkers burrowing here. No detection. Overseer's a little bit late to the party and does take a few extra shots because of it. Right now, Reynor's army supply 140 to 122. If he can take a fight and take a good fight and stop True from rebuilding, there's some possibility. But man, there's Broodlords on the map as well. I mean, True has just continued to tech up throughout this. Another Bane run by, gets a few more workers. Now Reynor's going to start pushing onto the map once again. Pushing up here right away. First Vipers abducting lurkers in. A couple more lurker shots going down. And well, Reynor just turns back. His lurker's own detection is just so far away. He can't really seem to justify going in further. True continued to expand through the left-hand side of the map here. And again, I would love to say that from True so far. Brilliant usage of the map with these lurkers, continuing to just hold all of the different alleyways, stopping Reynor from really getting onto the map at all here properly. And well, now these lurkers are True. Vipers are needed. He needs a blinding cloud to clean this up effectively. And there he goes, throw them down. But now lurkers are Reynor actually burrowing on top of the lurkers. Means they take a little bit of damage in the process. Again, Reynor is starved for money right now. He's transfusing Queens off up to the top side as well as True continues to kind of go for this onslaught. Still down in army supply, True, but again, his army behind this Broodlords. He's got money in the bank as well. He can rebuild. Reynor's finally breaking out of his 4 bases. And I mean, he kind of just has to go for it now. Surely you can't just sit back much longer. There's just no way that's going to be effective, sitting back and waiting here. He has to go for this, and here we go. Well, he will break through the first few lurkers. But man, his army supply is already dipping down. Overseas missile turrets are getting rid of these Vipers as well. These neutral missile turrets getting a lot of damage done as continue to push on forwards. Lurkers, Lings, Banes. Well, I mean, they continue to push on through here. GG from Reynor. True will take game 1 of this best of 2. See how this runs today and looking to try and keep things going in favor of the players. We don't want to keep the players here all night long, obviously, is the important thing we're aiming for. So with that said, to the bottom right hand side, our blue Zerg from XE, this is Reynor. And to the top left, our red Zerg from Psystorm is True. And again, this is Kairos Junction. Kairos, I'm not sure how exactly to say it, so I do apologize in advance. Kairos Junction. And let's just take a walk around this map. Again, this is a standard map. Sorry, just again replying to a couple players, keeping things on track here. So this is a standard map, so let's just take a wander around the map as this ZvZ macro game gets set up, at least macro for the moment, hatch gas pool. So, main base, pretty regular, space to build structures, has access, not really a lot of dead air around it, I guess. The natural covers the bottom side of the main, and the third base covers the right side, so it's actually a very easy to take free base map. So, easy to take free bases here. That's something I noted at the start. Natural, pretty normal as well. Kind of exposed by air over here. You know, you could liberate it up here very easily, etc. Obviously, there's choices as well. You could continue expanding down the south side of the map, where you actually have a very choked off area. These rocks in place as well at the moment. Or you could expand up here, which is also choked off too, while blocking the main. I kind of like that position as well, but kind of depends how you want to play it. Beyond there, I mean, fourth base is becoming plenty. You can go up here. You obviously could take this base as well. Continue down to the south. And we have a couple of different high ground positions on the map too, so that's going to spice things up as well, moving into the later stages. Take a look at the middle of the map, which is always an important position to look at. It's not obvious by the mini-map, but we have a few of these blockers here, which does choke the center of the map up. Creates a couple of awkward spots, some narrower pathways, some larger pathways. So in general, it's interesting because generally when you move from top right to or bottom right to top left, for example, you would come up here and you'd go through narrow pathway 1 and narrow pathway 2. So if you want to go quickly, you can go quickly. With a smaller army, you can pass through these choke points easily. But if you want to go with a larger army, you might want to loop around this way and kind of stay out of that choke point a bit more, stay in these more open areas, split your army up, and that could take a little bit longer. So I actually really like this. A very interesting middle of the map, which could have quite the effect on how things go here in the near future, and we'll kind of see if that has any effect on the ZvZ. ZvZ, one of the matchups which I actually imagine would be affected by that the most, the Roach Wars, obviously. I mean, as the Roaches kind of run on in, boom, you kind of can't really just run through choke points with Roaches. Larger pathways, though, yes, go ahead. Now, I want to point out, True has got this Roach Roaring coming up. This is something which Reynor has already seen once, and you will see it again. With 170 gas in the bank, True could make a bunch of Roaches alongside what's already a stack of Lings. That said, though, Reynor's already making a stack of his own Lings. Defensive Banes coming out as well. Feels as though Reynor is already getting set up into a good defensive position to deal with this here. A couple of Queens pushing their way through this Overlord. And that is going to be a kill. Reynor will be more supply blocked than he already is with that, so that's a shame. But he has got a third hatchery on the way up, so an advantage for Reynor here as he tries and looks for his first point of the tournament. Again, this is a 5-player group stage. Every player plays 2 maps against each other player. Each map is worth 1 point. The 3 top players on points go through to the next round of competition. First place in the group goes straight to round of 8. Second and third place go to the round of 12. Playoffs are played this weekend. No current time set for those, but we'll be starting after GSL vs. the World. So you guys can go from GSL vs. the World into even more StarCraft 2 action with us. So look forward to that. Now, True goes into a Carapace upgrade. So this is interesting. Carapace, maybe what you're not usually kind of used to seeing, but he's actually pulled out of gases apparently, or he's not mining much more gas right now. So instead of building those Roaches, he went Carapace upgrade, and that generally suggests maybe kind of a Ling Roach attack, but no, maybe not. Maybe he just uses it to go into more Lings in a Ling-based style. However, at the same time, Reynor is going into his own Roach Roaring, and a +1 missile upgrade. In terms of Roach versus Roach, that's going to be much better for Reynor if he gets a missile upgrade up. Missile upgrades are so much more valuable to Roaches than Carapace upgrades are. So that will help Reynor a lot, as we do see 2 Banes will finish morphing in the side of this base. Going to come in towards this mineral line. Not too many drones here. We will get a good 4 or so kills. Nicely done. It's a good little pick off right there. As you do see this Overlord completely fly around. Players position their Overlords to kind of keep track of anything going on. Cancel here by True. Didn't want Lings to run in the front and to have to deal with that. A few drones going down. And the Zerglings of Reynor continue to come over to the left-hand side. Again, +1 missile attack on the way up here right now from our Zerg. And as that finishes, I wonder what Reynor looks to do with it. He doesn't have a lair yet, so no Roach speed. Once he gets lair, you can get Roach speed on the way. I mean, the big thing is this is still 2 base against 3 base in favor of Reynor. So Reynor's already looking pretty good here on Kairos Junction. I wanted to say Karasan Rift again. Spire coming through now. True once again looking towards the middle list here, so the Carapace upgrade makes a little bit more sense. Doesn't intend to play Roaches, wants to play Ling Muta. So the Carapace will help his Lings fight on the ground. That's nice. Good intentions, I would say. Now, we are going to be seeing these few Lings continue around the right. More Lings of True coming in, getting a bit of a surround. The Banes from Reynor pushing forwards. Not one-shotting those Lings here if they do go off, remember, because of the Carapace upgrade, but still will bring them low and then very easily to pick them up from there. Lings now all over the place, though. The first Roaches are coming out. Reynor isn't immediately ready to defend. Banes on the third base, though, are keeping him alive for the most part. Roaches on the natural in the main. Reynor maintains a 12-worker lead, a good army supply lead, but obviously True's been banking money to get into his Mutalisks, which are going to be coming out in the next few moments. So Mutas will be coming out very shortly here. Going to get those ready to go as we see a few more of these Zerglings just gathering together. They're going to come over and start chasing down a few of those roaches. More roaches of Reynor going to head over to the left-hand side of the map as well. 11 Mutalisks currently on the way up here from True. So 11 meters coming in. Another Evo chamber will drop down. More Banes on the way up from Reynor as again True's just running around all over the place. Finally the Mutas, as they come onto the map, will start to get something done. And they'll start cleaning up these roaches. Now this third hatch just finished. I don't think Reynor's going to be able to actually kill this third hatchery before the Mutas kill his roaches, right? I mean, that would be kind of insane. Finally the rest of the Mutas get on top of this. It's half health. Another roach shows up to try and help. Is he actually going to get it? Wow, True's going to be kicking himself for not having all of his Mutas attacking at the same time at the start here. Because that will cost him this hatchery. Because it was otherwise very low, very close to not going down and being kept alive. So once again, reset to the 2 bases. Reynor still holding the eco lead in the game. Just has to deal with the Mutas, and as his Hydra Den comes up, obviously it starts to look very, very hopeful if you're a Reynor fan, hoping that he is able to at least pick up 1 point here in the ZvZ today. What's up, Vernon Talk? Thank you so much for the 2-month resub. Thank you for supporting the channel and the content here on this stream. Do appreciate it as we see Lingers running on over to the left-hand side, and Extractor surrounded this hatchery. Will probably go down again. Mutas are still causing some Chaos Queens, separate from Spore Crawlers. Man, that's going to be a kill, not even a cancel, and that's more damage dealt. A few Hydras coming forwards to help push the Mutas back, but True is in so much trouble here in the long run. His main is starting to mine out. As his main mines out, he doesn't really have further options in terms of mining. Now, this starts to get very messy here, honestly. As we'll see, Lings and Roaches do get a few more kills, picking off a few more Zerglings there. Mutas coming over, and they're going to get themselves one of the Hydras low, another Hydra continuing to back away as well. Actually, only 1 Hydra lost. It's not bad at all, considering the situation. More Lings and Roaches to the top side here. Will try and break their way through this Evo, but it doesn't seem as though it's going to happen, as we do have the Spine and the Queen pushing their way through a Roach or 2. Now Mutas back into the main base, getting another couple of drone kills. Hydralisks here going to have to come in here as well, try and get more damage done also. One Overlord goes down. Well, True is really keeping Reynor pinned back with these Mutas, despite the fact he is still only on 2 bases of his own. Time's really ticking for True, though. If he doesn't do something really super amazing in the next few moments, I mean, we're talking about a Reynor on 3 bases, on more drones, who's starting to get Hydras, a real counter to Mutalisks on the map. Once they are here, there's only so much these Mutalisks can do, and the answer, the reality is, it's not going to be a lot. One Muta's going to come back towards the upper left side. First station pick coming through. Interestingly enough, he actually kills the Roach Warren. Something we don't usually see done. By killing the Roach Warren, it just means he wasn't using Roaches, right, but it opens up and it keeps his Evo Chambers alive. Third hatchery once again. This time Reynor doesn't seem to be in a position to, run by and to do something about it. You see a lot of Mutas into the main. Queen and the Spore Crawler here. Not going to be enough to keep this going, and so once again, True finds an opening. But the Queen and the Spore buy enough time for the Mutas to get into the main base as well, and so the damage is minimized. And Reynor would love to get across the map. This Mutalisk style is so frustrating to play against. Just knowing that your army wins in a fight, but just not being able to create a fight in your own way. Because if you push across these Mutas counter, it's so hard to commit into. Look at that dropping down in the back of the natural. Mutas back into the main. The double Spore that's building is, well, not ready yet. And 1 killed, the other probably killed as well. 2 volleys of Mutalisks. And they are going to be seeing that go down. However, the Hydras come in. That's a good few Mutas picked off. And that's the sort of thing which Reynor needs. Bane's starting to come in towards the right-hand side. Reynor is prepared for this, though. After the last series, or the last game of this series, he knows what True likes to do, and he's not going to let that happen here on Kairos. So he is going to shut this down for the moment. +2 flyer attack on the Spire as we see Mutas continue to come around through the center. I'm going to think about heading over to the right-hand side as well here. 2 Lurker Dens from Reynor. Small mistake, obviously doesn't need to. Just forgot that he built the first one. His Hydralisk Den maybe going to go down. This Lurker Den in the back was actually unnecessary, and it did get picked off as we see the Spore Crawler doing some good damage here, but unfortunately the fungal growth will not last forever, and the Mutas will start to get away before the Hydras are here. 1 or 2 Mutas might go down. Hydralisk Den killed as well, but Reynor's already rebuilding it elsewhere. Lings at the same time running by, though, and True is again on the onslaught after being 2 bases for so long in this game. Suddenly Reynor is down 20 workers, his army's still amazing when it comes to a fight. However, it's getting worse. Banelin's speed finishing means that Banelin's will start to be a counter to Reynor's army as well, and he only has a few infestors. Fungal Groves are great against Banelin's, but if these infestors are expending energy on Mutalisks, then obviously it isn't as great as you might think. Plus 2 flyer attack about to finish up on the Spire as well. And more of these Mutalisks backing away into the center. A lot more Roaches and Hydras here coming through, and Overlord already picked off in the skies. Mutas continue to fly down to the south, and here we go. Now Reynor's just going to go for this. I mean, this is Reynor's strength in this game, when he has the opportunity to actually take a fight. However, these infestors are trailing. They don't have fungals to protect themselves. Reynor will have to pull his Hydras back a little bit to let the infestors catch up. Infestors burrow. Wow, that's actually nice. He kind of baits the Mutalisk in before he burrows the infestors here. Very nicely done. Well, pushing forwards, we see infestors popping up once more. Hydras are going to push the front, and well, where's the army? Bane's on the low ground, nothing on the high ground, so it's a one-dimensional attack from True. That's going to get set up here. First Fungal Grove lands perfectly on the first few Banelings, and now on the Mutas, which are going to take a lot of damage as well. Needs to split these Hydras against the Banelings, though it's going to be difficult. Oh, another Fungal Grove connects. He still needs to do some splitting. He just needs one more Fungal. He drops Infested Terrans. True's going to do this. He's going to 2-0 Reynor. He's going to win both of these maps. GG, True takes game number 2, and hence the